Next item on the agenda is something completely different, so a swimming pool. As you recall, we talked last meeting about a new cover for the swimming pool, and we had, I think I'm the only one who has these quote pages, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. At last meeting, Eric had only received one quote, and that was a total of $7,288. The second quote we received late this afternoon, and that quote is essentially double at $14,145. One of the things that council was going to consider is whether to see if we can have the available budget and the budget flexibility to acquire this prior to June 30, or perhaps get it ordered and have it delivered after July 1, when it would come out of the next fiscal year's budget. So at this point, Eric and I need council's direction. And if you want to mull this all over for one more meeting, you can do that too.
So, let me just look at the budget and see if it's there to get it done before the swimming season. If it's there, then do it. If not, then we'll just put it off another
How
month.
long's it covered, sorry?
That was a ribbon. 40,
How
50
old's
years
the
old.
cover? Yeah. I bet you the dinosaurs were around.
How many tires on a fire truck? Anyway.
Does this need a motion, Mayor?
If there's a consensus from council to look at budget availability and come out back next meeting with a specific recommendation, we can do that.
And especially if the recommendation is whether or not the order can be placed with a delayed delivery.
Okay.
And maintain that. The goal is to place the order immediately to get a price locked in, but to deliver it after the budget analysis for the next year's budget. So basically, order it now, deliver on first, second week of July.
And so I'll reach out to the pool guy, see if that's an acceptable thing that he can do.
That's what we're looking for.
Perfect, I can get that done.
When is the pool open?
When do you wanna go?
Is it still snowing?
Is it June? May, June?
I have it scheduled to open the first week in June. I believe that's what I have written
You're
down.
gonna fight with that cover for a month?
Yeah. With the hope of a new pool cover on the horizon, I can fight with it for a month. So, yeah.
Okay. Yes, yes,
I have a question or a comment, I guess.
for the record.
Oh, sorry. I do that to people all the time that I don't do.
I know
Debbie
that's why I
Randolph.
take such
Last name is
really.
spelled R-A-N-D-O-L-P-H. I might have a suggestion for a swimming pool for the city. Broadwater County Trust Board gives grants for recreational-based projects. And I don't think the city has ever asked, that my knowledge, for anything for the pool. It's a grant process. We can get it to you tomorrow. Certainly not gonna speak for them, they're a separate board. And it takes some time, but if you get on it right away, you could get the funds by May. An idea.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Mayor, if I could, while we have Commissioner Randolph on the phone, I saw a survey about the county parks
Yes.
proposals that included a facility with an indoor pool. Do you have an idea of the proposed timeline, assuming these projects are approved?
I'm not sure. Right now, those are dreams.
Okay.
There's certainly no budget in the county budget for a pool or softball fields or any of it. So it's a long-term plan.
Thank you.
Doug, you had a comment?
No, another organization might be happy with that.
Oh, that's the cover, you mean?
Tires, check fire truck.
Gotcha, all right. Maybe we've had enough water talk for we're receiving.
No, we're not.
We're about to
This is
do
still
snow
water.
removal.
Well, yeah.
Very
Still, consideration of the snow plow acquisition, council had asked Eric and me to obtain some additional information, asked Eric specifically if he would go take a look at that,
I did.
and
It's everything you could dream of. What's that?
and once, and once again, the issue is,
The simple issue is it's stored it inside. They must have detailed it just so that I could go in there and Google over everything, cause I couldn't believe how clean that cab was. I actually need to show my new guys the cab of that truck and say, hey, I want city trucks like this, you know? But I was actually really surprised that the truck itself is, for its age and for what it is, it's in good shape, it's got good tires. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wanna drive to New York in it, but on the other side of the coin, they simply don't have a place to store it inside, so that when I needed it with the sand and that, it, to go out, be able to go out and sand or plow, I just, the offer is outstanding, I can't see it feasibly working for us because I can't store it inside. So, that's my downfall.
Commissioner Randolph, you or your folks have anything to say?
I'll defer to Ken, but
No, it's
totally
just,
understand
it's,
that.
I understand that, where he's coming from, it takes a toll on equipment leaving it outside, if you've got sand in it, the risk of it freezing at night, and, but I'm not gonna lie, it's an old machine, but it served its purpose well with me, I mean, we did maintenance on it, and, I mean, I wouldn't wanna take it to New York either, but it never left me stranded anywhere. And it's, you know, it's a 1985 GMC. It starts up every time. I mean, it just, but if you don't have no place to store it or keep it, I mean, that's kind of, the weather takes a huge toll on equipment.
Thank you. To that end, our snow removal vehicle usage agreement that was signed in 2021, sorry, you can wait.
Okay. I tried.
Specifically identifies a 1988 Ford L9000 and a 1990 Henke snowplow as collectively the plow vehicles. And so I'm thinking that this agreement just, are you looking for something specifically, Commissioner?
I don't have it.
Okay. Because the vehicles are specifically identified, it seems like we might be in a position to modify this agreement. Just letting council know that,
Mayor, is the
Yes.
vehicle that's for sale one of the vehicles here?
I'm not sure, I don't think so, but
He probably doesn't know where this vehicle is.
I sure don't. But my pay grade.
It's down there.
let me ask this, is it still in Broadwater County?
This is the one we're trying to
Yeah.
sell them is not on here.
Okay, so we're probably okay with it, except for the fact that it says 18 inches of snow before we'll come get the truck. Okay, all right, so I misspoke, Councilman,
That was my question. We had a brief conversation about the 18-inch rule. Are we gonna revisit that, or can we, or is that even up for discussion with county, city?
I think the city's worth. Would the county commissioners be willing to talk about the 18-inch limit on snow removal?
I think it would be up to TJ Gravely first, and he's not
Okay.
here, he's out of town.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, certainly, I mean, that's, I'm not gonna commit to anything, but 18 inches is a lot of snow.
Well, it just, to add to that, it makes more sense to me than, buying a truck, whether it's that one or if we can work something out with the county, at least on the emergency routes, I think that's how that stays, right? 18 inches on Harrison, D Street, whatever. But at least in the, Townsend is just so unpredictable when it comes to snow, but 18 inches is a lot. And it'd make better sense to work out an agreement, if we could, with TJ or the county, because this last couple blasts was pretty rough.
Well, I think it was us borrowing it, wasn't it? The city borrowing it? So it'd be our guys jumping in there,
Yeah.
not the county guys doing it for us.
Anyway, that's a topic for another day, but it just makes better sense to revisit that.
Actually, that's kind of what the topic is right now, isn't it?
Mhm. See, I knew what I was doing when I put the agenda together.
Got it.
So if council would like to, decide what depth of snow might warrant clearing of the streets, we can do that tonight.
What's more reasonable, 8 inches?
Gary?
18.
I'm thinking 2 feet.
Hey, you don't want to.
I'm just afraid that if we go any less, you go pushing up next to cars and people can't get in their vehicles. I mean, especially if it snows all day, you're gonna have drifts next to the cars, I mean, everybody's getting out now, I'm not saying it's not a problem, and I know it is, but even lowering the amount, and I think as we were talking about, you're gonna make the drifts 36 inches in front of their door, they can't get in their vehicle, or out.
I completely agree with everything Nate just said. Council's in an impossible decision. I mean, even as much snow as we got this year, we would have been plowing if you lowered it. I mean, we were borderline right at that 18-inch mark as it was. I'm not afraid to plow, but let's put it this way, like Nate just said, what's council gonna do when Granny calls and I plow her shut? And what are we gonna do? I mean,
Even closer to home, what's the mayor gonna do?
sure.
Cause she lives on the snow.
Yeah, so do I, and this year, there was a couple times if I wouldn't have had a 4x4 pickup truck, I wouldn't have gotten in my driveway, and that's without you plowing.
Right, if you're from another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 18.
And actually, Kim might have a better, may able to weigh on this a little bit more, I mean, for plowing county roads and plowing the
No,
grocery
it's
stores.
a never-ending battle. There's always somebody that's getting plowed in that's not happy. I mean, and then in town, you're gonna have everybody, unless you plow it to the middle of the street, haul it off. I mean, that's kinda, you're just gonna have a mess on your hands. And there's no way around it really, unless you,
Well, I don't remember the details of all the discussions. Some of this does sound familiar, and that is quite possibly how the city ended up at the 18 inches. It really had to be a huge problem before the city was willing to take that, or to actually say, yep, we're going to snow you into your driveway.
And the other thing this agreement does state is it says to remove the snow from city streets. It does not say anything about an emergency route. So if by rights, if you look at this for what it says, I'm to plow every street in town.
That's what the contract permits, but that's not an expectation from the city council.
Okay.
And all the contract does is open it up so you could.
Is it in the minutes?
I do believe it's in the minutes when we voted on that. Right, right, yeah, it was hospital, and then D Street to Harrison, Harrison to Fourth, and back, just, and hospital. Yeah.
Nicole,
How come the fire department's not on the emergency route?
you have big trucks.
Oh, yeah. We also have an RV.
I do not know.
Yeah, none of them have changed.
I do not know.
Okay, it was just curiosity.
Well, I remember 5 years ago when the city was last contemplating purchasing a snowplow, one of the discussions was whether or not the route should change, because not only is the fire department not on it, but a lot of the facilities that would be used as emergency centers, for example, churches, were also not on it. What we have is basically a U-shaped route that allows for a centralized access, and anything that's tertiary just has to deal with it. And if I recall the discussions from so many years ago correctly, the decision was, you know, it costs a lot to get a truck, it costs a lot to pay a driver, it costs a lot to manage these roads. And we have to make a decision as to the resources of the city versus the needs of emergency. And unfortunately, big trucks actually came up in the discussion. You guys can move through a lot of snow.
We got stuck on our apron this winter
Did you really?
because of how all the snow gets pushed onto the apron. There's a big ditch where it runs into the drainage. We got stuck
That's good to know.
with our
Yeah.
big truck.
The RV is in the way too.
The RV hasn't even been charged
Is the
yet.
RV still in the way?
No, it's gone.
Is it?
Saw that yesterday.
Okay.
Oh,
We
good.
weren't
I
sure.
made a mental note of that.
Thank you. I haven't been very.
I don't know how or why or when, but it's gone.
Okay, so based on what I'm hearing is, other than taking another look at the identified snow routes, this agreement will stand for the time being. Okay,
And Ms. Mayor,
yes,
I just want to be clear that you are not interested in the snowplow, correct?
that is
Okay.
correct.
Because we do have somebody else interested.
Because we have no place to store it, so that it
Just wanted to be really clear.
doesn't
I
mean
think
we
it'll
don't
be sold.
want it. Doesn't mean we don't want it.
Okay, fair.
Unless you're
Let the
selling
minutes
building.
show.
Yeah, does that come with its own building? All right. The next item in the agenda is that water usage and grading agreement we had with the county where we provided the water, I thought we were through with water. Provided water to the county road department in exchange for grading services on Railroad Avenue and Harrison. Is that correct? Twice a year. And what you see here is the county road department's estimate of the services provided to us was $35,572.23. Have not talked to TJ about how he identified the per unit amounts. So it just is what it is right now versus the city water at basically 49, down at the bottom of the page, $4,900 for the season. So the city got a heck of a deal in terms of this.
Didn't we like ask for just the grading and not the gravel?
Eric, did we do just grading or just the grading, not all of the other?
You guys didn't haul in gravel
No,
last year.
we have
Yeah.
all this
Okay.
watered and graded.
Okay. So let me actually, I'm just going to say, based on what I see here, it looked like it was a good deal for the city. I believe TJ is happy with that arrangement, and our recommendation is that we continue this for the remainder of this calendar year. Is that correct, Eric?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
You need a motion.
Certainly.
I move that we continue the contract with the county for grading the roads we just spoke about for next year.
For 2025.
Okay.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to continue the arrangement of grading for water for 2025. Is there any discussion from council? Discussion from the public?
Misty Mazzola, the Assistant Public Works Director for the county. TJ did want us to ask, if the agreement, it has an effective date of June 4th, the last one did,
Okay.
and he would like the effective date to be more in April.
So how about we, okay, motion is on the floor, discussion is happening. requesting an amendment to that motion to revise the effective date.
I amend my motion to reflect the advised date of April.
Do April 1. Who seconded that? Nate, is that amendment okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. So the revised motion is to move to continue agreement with the county for 2025, trading water for grading services with an effective date of April 1, 2025. Any further comments or discussion from council? From the public? Yes.
There will be some days that they won't be able to pull water, just with the water project going on. And does that need to be something that's in the contract, or is that something that we can just work together with?
Would say that we would work together on that one.
Perfect. I just-
Just like we do with any other water user.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Is that
other?
okay?
Yeah, just keep me informed on when you just don't need us, contributing to the mess.
During that time, could we just swap the meter to an area that would be accessible for them?
No, I'm taking the water tower off, a very brief definition, I'm taking the water tower offline. And I'm simply gonna be running off of BLD and only having one pump go, and there's no way I can support town plus what they draw off of it. Yeah, so, but in his side, it'll just be a day. It might happen twice in the same week, but it'll be just a day, it's not gonna be an extended amount of time. Please.
I'll put that in the
Write that
order.
down. Eric said extended amount of time.
Let's
What does
let's
that
put
mean?
that in the caveat of we don't know what's underneath the streets until we dig the hole, okay?
Eric, is that date, area, range, is that known, or is that?
The first one is fairly well known, it's gonna be April 7th of that week, and so it would be, the 8th, and it would be the 10th. Those are the first two, and then there will be another one closer towards fall. But for sure, right now, it would be the 8th, and it would be the 10th.
Nothing during the summer.
At
Okay.
Yeah, those are the hard dates that I can give you.
Eric said-
Everyone wants us to be on mission to do something.
Eric said-
All right, final call for comment? Seeing none?
Actually, Eric,
Yes?
I was, Kenny Nelson with Broadwater County Road Department. We talked about that gravel. Do we need to get anything worked up on that, or do you need to get permission for us to haul? So I'd like to get that done maybe this week, actually.
The other thing, what he's referring to is having to bring down some lime rock for us. None of us three have our M-Shop cards to be able to haul. And then, as much as I trust my abilities and the abilities of my guys, only Lee Lewis and Paul Rouser do our dump truck to its fullest potential. And it is probably extremely unsafe for us to take it up there and not having a Jake brake or anything else. So that's what he's referring to about hauling some gravel down for us into that pile. We talked about doing that, and I thought it was over with until he mentioned it, but, yeah.
So that actually is outside this motion.
It is outside the motion.
Okay.
So maybe he'll do it in the kindness of his heart.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about gravel now. Just in terms of information, because it's not on the agenda, we'll consider this public comment. One more opportunity. So share with me a little bit more about what's going on with the gravel.
We just don't have a truck capable of hauling that gravel down from up there, nor do we have, drivers that have M-Shop cards to be up on Greenmont's plant. So that's what was being referred to as him, and as in the county hauling it down for us and putting it in our little stockpile, with that, so.
something that in the past has routinely been done by the city crew?
It was, yes, yep.
Okay.
But like I said too, our trucks at the age is probably unsafe to take it up there, especially with the inexperienced drivers that we have. Lee and Paul were amazing drivers, so, yeah,
Understanding slightly more, you and I will talk.
sounds good.
Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda is the growth policy. Angie, would you explain where we are with that, please?
Of course, Jeremy with WWC has, provided the planning board with a copy of the proposed growth policy. Last Thursday, we held a public hearing, with some, comments from our public, which was fair answer. The planning board has, made a motion and sent the growth policy forward to city council with, the recommendations from there. So it is now in the hands of the city council, and we need to move forward with having a public hearing process.
Okay, so at this point in time, we have not received that revised, the growth policy. This is on here to give council a heads up that it will be coming, and that,
And
council would need to take a look at it, and then we would set the public hearing.
right, and I would you might wanna give it a couple of weeks, because Jeremy had a immediate death in his family, and so it might take him just a little bit to get that adjusted for us.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the proposed fireworks ordinance draft, which council needs to take a look at and decide whether it's ready to go forward for a public hearing.
Well,
Vivian?
I think we wanted the attorney to review this before we send it to the public hearing. But we wanted to get council's feedback before we sent it to the attorney.
Correct. Correct. Thank you for that clarification. Some comments from council?
Several.
Okay.
I'm a little bit confused in your definitions of consenting adult. It states a minor, that was aged 18